something on 15b. So 15 and the bottom, this concept came up that Rav Huna actually sold a large animal, which you're not supposed to do, to the idol worshiper. And his reasoning was that he had good reason to assume that he wasn't going to use the animal for work. He might work on Shabbos, rather for shechting it, for slaughtering it. So to that we said, do we really do that? Do we sometimes be lenient if we have a good assumption to assume that way? So on that we brought that by Shemitah, by the 7th year, Basil allowed you to sell an animal, a plowing animal. He allowed you to do it on the 7th year, even though he might take the animal and go plow with it, and that's prohibited. But because he could slaughter it, we say, since he could slaughter it, it'll be allowed, because maybe he'll slaughter it. Why be stringent? Maybe you could be lenient. You don't know for sure. So you could assume that maybe he'll just slaughter it. To that, Rabbah said that it's not similar, because by Shabbos, which we're worried about, if you give an animal to the non-Jew, he's going to go and then use it, and then you might come to lend it to him, or rent it to him, and then your animal will be doing work on Shabbos, and that's prohibited. By the Shemitah year, though, there's no mitzvah that your animal should rest. That's only by Shabbos, not by Shemitah. Fine. So we're up to Amar Le Abaye. So Amar Le Abaye, it sounds like what we're saying. Abaye says, V'kol heichad adam mitzuvah aser. It sounds like that as long as you're commanded on watching your animal or watching your item, we'll see, then you are prohibited from selling it. So the animal on Shabbos, you are commanded to watch it. Therefore, you're prohibited from selling it to the non-Jew. As opposed to the cow during Shemitah, there's no commandment for you to watch your cow during Shemitah, and therefore you are permitted to sell it. That's Abaye's conclusion from what we just said. Now, if that's true, v'harei sadeh, how about a field? The adam mitzvah al shvisas sadehu, you are commanded to make sure your field lies fallow b'shvius on Shemitah year, and yet we see v'tam b'sham omer lo yimkar adam sadeh near b'shvius ubeisol matirin mipnei sheyachol lahovira. Let's say you have a field. You have a field that is a already plowed field. The question is, can you sell it to a Jew who's a suspect of violating Shvius? He's not the most religious Jew. Can you sell him this field? Beis Shammai says no. Beis Hillel says you could. Why? Mipnei sheyachol lahovir. Lahovir means he can turn it into a field that's just going to it's going to be a field that's that you're not going to be able to plant anything on. Lahovir, like the word bore, you're going to make like a pitful field, meaning you have a field where you're going to plant on it, or you're going to you're not going to plant on it. So once again, you have two options. You have maybe he'll use it and then plow on it and plant on it. It's already plowed, maybe he'll plant. And Beis Hillel says no, since he could turn to a field that he's not going to plant on, just going to have the field there. Therefore, you'll be permitted to sell it to him. So here we see that a field you are commanded on, and yet Beis Hillel still allows you to sell it to a Jew, even though the Jew is suspect of violating Shemitah. Since he could, there's an option that he'll turn it into a fallow field, and he won't plant on it. Therefore, you can assume that, and you don't have to be stringent. So that's one question. Another question is, masculine of Ashi v'kol heichad ein adam mitzvah shari. Is that true that as long as you're not commanded to watch your object, like you weren't commanded to watch your cow, so therefore you could sell it, the plowing cow, you could sell it. Is that true that whenever you're not obligated to watch your animal, it's permitted to sell? What about different plowing tools on Shemitah? There's no mitzvah to watch your plowing tools. However, it's going to be prohibited to sell them. Bare kalim, the ein adam mitzvah al shvisas kalim, you do not have to make sure that your vessels don't do work for you on Shvius. No such thing. And yet we learned in the Mishnah, there are certain vessels you are not allowed to sell during the Shemitah year. So hamachrisha, a plow, v'kol keleha, whatever it needs for the plow to work, all of its vessels. Ha'ol, what's the ol? The yoke, I guess for the animal. The hamazra v'hadeker. Hamazra is something that you shovel and a hoe. Yeah. So what do you see? Even though you're not commanded on these objects to ensure that they rest on the seventh year, yet you are prohibited from selling them because people might use them for the wrong reasons. So, what's the rule? Sometimes you could, sometimes you can't. What's the rule? Ella Amar Ravashi, Ravashi suggests, Kol heicha de'ika lemitli talina. Whenever you could assume that the guy's not going to do something prohibited with it, you could assume that. That's fine. Even if you're commanded on it, it all depends. Is there a chance he's going to use it in a non-prohibited manner? If there is a chance that even though you're commanded on it, like your field, so you could sell it. But if there are certain cases where you're not able to really, like, what else is he going to use it for? Like, for example, these vessels, plowing vessels. What else is he using plowing vessels for during Shemitah other than to plow his fields? So there's no way to assume he'll be using it for any kind of lenient purpose. So therefore, you're not allowed to sell to them, even though you're not commanded in the resting of your objects. So the rule of thumb is, it depends. The object you're selling, are there two ways it could be used? If there are two ways it could be used, then it'll be permitted to sell it. If there is only a prohibited usage for it, and that's it, then it'll be prohibited to sell. Yeah. Okay. Rabba Zavin Ahu Chamra Li Yisroel HaChashud Limkor LaOvid Kochavim. So now, Rabba sold his donkey to a Jew who's suspect of selling it to an idol worshiper, or in this case, really a non-Jew. I don't know if it's just an idol worshiper, but you can't sell your large animals because they might come to rent them out or lend them out, and they might work for you on Shabbos. And yet, Rabba sold it to a Jew who is very likely going to sell it to a non-Jew. So now, Amrle Abayi, my time Abed Marhachi. Abayi is, how could you do that? It might end up in the hands of a non-Jew. So he tells him, Amrle Anali Sholzvini. I sold it to a Jew. What do you want from me? I sold it to a Jew. Amrle, okay, but he's going to go and sell it to a non-Jew. So he says, who told you that? Maybe he'll sell it to a Jew. How do you know? Yes, he's suspect of selling it to a non-Jew. True, but he might also sell it to a Jew. So therefore, I could assume he'll sell it to a Jew, and there'll be no problem, and I could sell it to him. So from here we see it sounds like that even though this person is suspect of doing something improper, like selling it to a non-Jew, which would be improper, you can sell it to the Jew. Because you could assume he might sell it to a Jew. And you don't have to assume otherwise. Okay, now on this, let's see. It's going to be a long brisa. We need one part of it, and then the rest are just the details of the brisa. So let's see. Esvei. Here's a brisa. Is going to ask it's going to be a problem for this statement. It's just going to be a 15-line brisa, 10-line brisa, but hold tight. Esvei. Makom shinagu limkar behemadak. In the place that the custom is to sell a small animal, likutim. So the kutim are the people, the kutians, either they were good converts or not good converts, but mochrin, you can sell it to them, no problem. Shalolim and mochrin, in a place where the custom is not to sell to the kutim, a small animal, we don't sell to them. Oh, sorry, the price is not yet. The price is coming up later. Sorry. Yeah. So what do you see? In a place where the custom is not to sell to the kutim, you don't sell to them. Why not? My time. If you're worried about that they might have relations with the animal, bestiality, so we're going to prove to you now that the kutim are not people that are suspect to have relations with the animals. And if that's going to be true, so why can't you sell them Why can't you sell them? And these small animals, what are you worried about? Must be you're going to be worried about that maybe they're going to sell it to a non-Jew, and yet it's going to be prohibited. And if that's the worry, that's going to be a problem with what we just said, that Rabbah sold the animal to a Jew, knowing that it might be sold to a non-Jew. He permitted it. But yeah, we're going to see that it's going to be prohibited to sell an animal to the Kutim because there's a chance they might sell it to a non-Jew. That's going to be the setup. So now, are they really suspect on bestiality? So now, here's the long brisa. You're not allowed to put up your animal in the inns of the idol worshippers. You can't do zicharim, etzel zicharim, your male animal with male idol worshippers, and your female animals in the caves, etzel nekevos, with the female idol worshippers. The ein tzarach lomar and the kevos, etzel zicharim, zicharim, etzel nekevos, and for sure you can't put male and female, male animals and female people, or female animals and male people. That's for sure you can't do because you are worried about bestiality. Now, this is all not kutim, idol worshippers. The ein mosin be'emal l'roa shalan. You cannot give your animal to them, to their shepherds. The ein meyachtanim. You yourself can't be secluded with them because they might kill you. The ein mosin amtina, and you can't give them over your child that they should be, in order to educate them or to learn a craft. Aval ma'amidim behema. Okay, so that's all by the idol worshippers. That's just parenthetical to what we need. But now, when it comes to the kutim, aval ma'amidim behema, you could place your animal in the lobbies of their inns. Ma'amidim behema b'pundako shel kutim scharim etzel nekevos v'nekevos etzel scharim. Male animal, female kuti, female animal, male kuti, male and male, female, female, no problem. Etzel scharim, etzel zacharim, etzel scharim v'nekevos etzel nekevos. Umosrin behema l'roa shalahem. And you're allowed to give over your animal to their shepherds, and you can be seclude yourself with them. You're not worried they're going to kill you. You can give over your child to get educated and to learn a craft. No problem. So what do you see? You can give over your animals to them, and we're not worried that the kutim are going to. We're not worried for bestiality, but yet, you still can't sell them the animals in a place that the custom is not to sell. So what are you worried about? Bestiality? No. So what are you worried about? Yeah. And it's still said that a small animal, if the custom is not to sell, so then you cannot sell it. And a large animal is for sure prohibited to sell to them. So what are you worried about? It must be you're worried that you're going to give it to the kuti, and the kuti is going to give it over to another idol worshiper. And that's prohibited. Now, if that's true, that's a big problem for Rabbah, because Rabbah sold his horse, he sold his donkey to a Jew who was suspected to sell it to an idol worshiper, and yet he permitted it. So what's the difference between a kuti that we're worried he might give it over to the idol worshiper and a regular Jew who's suspect to sell it to an idol worshiper? Seems to be a contradiction. That's one. But Tanya ein mocher lahem lo zayin lo zayin. And also, you cannot sell to idol worshippers any weapons or any vessels used for their weapons, like a handle to their weapon. Vein mashchizin lahem, you can't sharpen their weapons. As a zayin vein mocher lahem lo sedan velo kolerin velo kabbalim. So sedan are some kind of chains you keep the prisoners together by their feet. Velo kolerin velo kabbalim are different kinds of chains, I think. Different iron chains. So below shalshalo shel barzel is iron chains. So now echad ove kochavim the echad kuti. You can't even sell it to a kuti. So now why can't you sell these weapons to a kuti? So by an idol worshiper, you're worried he's going to come and kill you. You can sell an M16, you're going to get a bullet through your head. So don't do that. But a kuti, well, they're upstanding citizens. So my time, if you're worried they might kill you, we said earlier you can seclude yourself with them because you're not worried they're going to kill you. Are you worried that they might kill you? You can seclude yourself with them. You got your private meeting and without worrying that they might come and kill you. So what's the worry? Why can you not sell them any weapons? Because they might come sell it to an idol worshiper. So two brisas selling small animals in a place where the custom is not to sell, selling a large animal, prohibited, selling weapons, prohibited to kutim, and we're not worried about bestiality, and we're not worried about killing. So what are you worried about? Because they might go and sell it to an idol worshiper, and that's prohibited. And yet Rabbah sold his donkey to a Jew who was suspect that he might sell it to an idol worshiper, but Rabbah said, but he might not. So why don't we say, but he might not over here? What's the difference? V'chitema kuti lo avitshuva yisroel avitshuva. So maybe you'll say that a kuti is not going to right. Maybe he won't repent and listen to the words of the rabbis that prohibit him from selling to an idol worshiper. Meaning, maybe you'll say you'll sell it to the kuti, and the rabbis will tell him, don't sell to an idol worshiper, and he won't listen. As opposed to a Jew, that a Jew will listen if the rabbis tell him, do not sell it to an idol worshiper. So maybe their level of having deference towards the rabbis is on different playing fields, and that's the difference. So Rachman said the name of Rabbi Baravua, just like Sha'amru also limkar lechavim, kach also limkar liyisrael. So we have explicit statement of Rav Nachman named Rabbi Baravua, just like it's prohibited to sell your weapons to a idol worshiper, or maybe not weapons, maybe it means animals, probably the animals. Kach also limkar liyisrael, hachashur limkar lechavim. Just like you can't sell them, you say what? Whatever you can't sell to the non-Jew, to the idol worshiper, so you also cannot sell to a Jew who is suspect of selling it to a idol worshiper. So Rabbi Baravua explicitly said that it's usher. So once Rabbi heard this, that Rav Nachman said in the name of Rabbi Baravua, what did he do? He traced right Basra Tlata Parsa. He ran 3 parsas to retract the sale. He wanted to buy it back from that Jew he just sold it to. Bigad Parsa Bechala Velo Adjeche. And some say it was really like 1 parsa in the sand. I mean, it was very hard to walk, but he was not able to catch up to him. So, okay. Amar Abdimi Bar Abba, Kidarish also them Kollel also them Listim Yisrael. Just like you can't sell weapons to an idol worshiper, you also cannot sell them to a Jew who's a robber. So Yisrael Hechidami, like what kind of Jew are we talking about? A Jew that you're worried might kill another Jew. Obviously, you can't sell on your M16. That's obvious. Pshita. That's the same as a idol worshiper who you're worried might kill you. And if he's not going to kill you, so why not sell him guns? Protect himself. Amailo, why not? So la'olam delokatel. It's a Jew, he's not going to kill. But he does take money and then run for his life, and then the owner of the money might come and chase him, and they're going to get into a fight, and that fight might result in death. The zimnin, the avid latzli nafshe. He might have to use the weapon to save his life, and therefore you cannot give him, even though you cannot give him, therefore you cannot give him a weapon because it might be used to kill another Jew. Yeah. Okay. Tanur about more things you can't sell to them. Ein mochanam trees and shields. So you can't sell the idol worshippers shields. The yesh omrim mochanam trees. Some say you could. So my time, why can you not sell them shields? If you're worried that they might come and protect themselves with it, so you shouldn't be able to sell them any wheat or barley either. Sounds like, well, because I guess they eat that and they become healthier and they're able to defend themselves. So the defending yourself is not a reason to not sell them. So Amar Rav Papa, they had Amar Rav, Amar Papa on the next page. So Efshar Hachanami. So he says, if it was possible to not sell them any wheat or barley, we would do it. Rashi adds in, it causes ava, causes animosity amongst them. So when it's going to cause animosity, if I don't sell, you're selling to all the Jews, and walks in this guy, you don't sell to him, it causes animosity. So that's sometimes used as a leniency in halacha. So here too, it's used as leniency that for that reason you could sell them. Imagine nowadays you have a Jewish business, right, open in downtown somewhere. So when you start selling, normal things to people, the second a non-Jew walks in, you tell them no. That guy calls riot, anti-Semitism, whatever. So you gotta avoid those things. So we don't want to instigate. So that's right. That's right. So Ika de Amri, some say Tris and Hainu time of the low, Dichi Sholim Zainayu Kali Begavayu. Because what's going to happen that when all your weapons are used up, what are you going to do? You're going to use your shields as weapons. So Kali Begavayu, you're going to use them as weapons. The Yesh Omrim, some say Mocher Lahem Tris, and you could sell them shields. Why? Because when your weapons go out, you run for your life. You don't use your shield. So how much are we worried that the shield's going to be used as a weapon? If you're a little bit more worried, then you can't sell the shield. If you're not so worried, fight or flight, so then you're going to then you could sell it. The halacha accords with the Yesh Omrim that say you are allowed to sell them weapons. Sorry, shields. Thank you. Right? Imagine you're sitting in the Prime Minister's office in Israel, and who knows, Arab countries you made a peace treaty with now want to buy some of your weapons. So, history has shown that sometimes they turn their back on us, or maybe not, or maybe yes. Right. What can you sell them? What can you not sell them? It's interesting. Yeah. It's much more codified in the Shulchan Aruch, which tells you the clear halacha.
Yeah.
That's the
right.
Yeah. So Amar Ravada bar Ava, Ein mocher lahem ashashios shel barzel, but you cannot sell them things of iron, like a block of iron, thick pieces of iron. Yeah, thick pieces of iron. Why not? My timer. Mishum dechol sheminayu klizayin, because they take it and they melt it down, they make themselves weapons. Okay, but then your hoes and axes, you can't sell to them either, because maybe they'll melt it down and make weapons. So Amarav Zvid, the Parzala Hindua, the you can sell them the Turkish ones, because the Turkish hoes and axes, they don't use. No, sorry, not Turkish, Indian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Indian ones, those are nicer ones, I guess. Those you're not going to melt down their axes and hoes and make them into weapons. That's fine. Nowadays we do sell the neighboring countries. Presume it's going on the iron. Actually, that's that's the Persians, the Meganu Ilavim, because they protect us. So the countries that protect us, there you could sell them.
One day they're your enemy.
I know. It's interesting.
One day they're your enemy.
How do you know? I guess if they go right now they're protecting the city. So right now you could sell them. What's gonna happen tomorrow? Don't know. Tosfos points out that nowadays we also, because of this reason, we're also allowed to sell idol worshippers different weapons, because some of them are protecting us. It depends what country we're in. So they're living Germany and France, 10, 1100s, 1200s. Yeah. So okay. Now the Mishnah said Agolim, so young calves, Visayachim. So I think it was young horses. Those.
Oh, maybe calves to foals.
What are foals? Young horses. Young horses, right? So young calves, young horses. So now the Mishnah said that you don't sell them large animals, young calves, or young horses that are whether they're whole or they're injured. Rabbi Yehuda allowed selling an injured animal. So Tanakama says you can't, and Rabbi Yehuda says you could. Tanya, Rabbi Yehuda matir b'shvura. Rabbi Yehuda allowed the sale of a broken animal, one that's mutilated, has a broken legs. Why? It's not going to be able to get better and live. So you're not worried that it's going to go do work for you on Shabbos. It's not going to be able to heal. Amrulo, but they said to Rabbi Yehuda, but hello, Marbin Alaha Violedes. What do you mean? Even though it has a broken limb, it can still mate and have children. V'kevan de Marbin Alaha Violedes, Asul Shuye. Since it's going to be able to mate and give birth, you're going to have it around for a long time. Then someone's going to see your animal by some idol worshiper, and they're going to think that we can sell to them also. So Rabbi Yehuda says to that, Amrlan, Likishatele. You know what? When this broken animal ends up mating, you let me know. He holds that an animal that has these broken legs, it's not going to be able to mate. So when it does, you let me know. Alma lo mekabel zachar. As long as it's injured, it's not going to receive its mate, and it's not going to mate, and therefore, he's not worried that people are going to see the animal by you, and they're going to think that that you're allowed to sell animals to the non-Jews because this animal's it's injured and it's not going to work for you on Shabbos. Ben Beseira matir besos. Ben Beseira allowed the sale of a horse. Now, on Shabbos, so Rashi and the Mishnah points out, on Shabbos, to ride a horse is only rabbinically prohibited. It's not doing work for you. It's just to ride it. That's it, to get from point A to point B. So, So there, it's only a rabbinical prohibition. We didn't make a decree that you might come to lend or to rent out your animal to the non-Jew on Shabbos. Right? Which is a biblical decree we did, but a rabbinical decree we didn't. So he allowed a horse. Why? Because you're doing a malacha, which you are not liable a chatas. You're not liable a sin offering, meaning it's not a biblical prohibition. The Rebbe Oser. But Rebbe did not allow the sale of a horse for two reasons. Echad, mishum Torah's klizayin, ve'echad mishum Torah's behema gasa. One for a reason of weapons, and one for a reason, the same reason why you can't give sell a big animal to the idol worshiper. Let's go one by one. Bishlam Torah's klizayin used as a weapon, it sounds like they would train the horses that when a soldier's down, they would trample upon them and kill them. So the horse could be used for killing. So you can't sell weapons. You can't sell the horse either because it's trained to kill, or it could be trained to kill. Ella Torah's b'magasa maihi. Why is it similar to a large animal, which he said that is an act that you might come to lend it to the non-Jew, and then it'll do work for you. Amar Rabbi Yochanan l'kishiyaschin matchinu berechayim. Says Rabbi Yochanan, what's going to happen? L'kishiyaschin, when the animal gets a little older and it's not able to ride so well, what are you going to do? It's going to go and somehow it's going to do your mill for you. It's going to pedal away on Shabbos, and that's prohibited. Rabbi Yochanan halacha keben b'seira. Halacha keben b'seira, that you are allowed to sell a horse to them. Yeah. Okay. Mentioning all these things nowadays, how it applies, right? You own 10 horses. Mm-hmm. You could sell it, can't sell it. I don't know, it's interesting.
Yeah. No.
We don't have mills nowadays that do that necessarily, but maybe the reason is still, I don't know. Look it up. So okay. Ibailahu. Let's ask a question. Shor shel pitem mahu. So pitem is to fatten up. So you have a fattened up ox. Now, it's not able to do any work for you. So you don't have to be worried necessarily it's going to do work for you on Shabbos. So tibayi le Rabbi Yehuda and tibayi le Rabban. So the question goes for Rabbi Yehuda and for the Rabbanim. So one by one. Tibai the Rabbi Yehuda Kamakar Shar Rabbi Yehuda Ela B'Shvura. Rabbi Yehuda only permitted a broken animal, one that limbs are broken, because that's never going to do work. The lo asi the chlal malacha. It's not going to be able to do work for you. Aval hai, this animal, the chimashile asi chlal malacha. Maybe after it goes on a diet, hits the treadmill, then it's going to be fit for work again. So maybe it'll be asar according to Rabbi Yehuda. O dilma, afil the rabbana. Maybe even the rabbana loka asir hasam ela distame lav l'shchitakai. A regular animal is not for shechting. It's going to be for using to work. Aval hai, this nice fat animal, you're going to use it for your dinner. This is for sure. These fattened up oxen are for sure used for shechting. So when it's used for shechting, maybe you could assume the guy's not going to work with it. It's very fat. You can use it to shecht and have a nice dinner. Kaya filu rabbanan sharu. Maybe the rabbis even allowed you to sell this to the idol worshiper. So let's see. Tashma, Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Shmuel. So Rabbi Yehuda said in the name of Shmuel that shall base Rebbe, the house of Rebbe, hayu makrivin shor shall pitem biyom idam. It sounds like they were forced. They would bring this fattened up ox. They would bring it up as a. They would sell it to the. They would sell it to the idol worshiper on the day of their holiday. So, what happened over here? They can't do that. So they tried. Chaser arba rivavan she'ein makrivin osayom el macher. They ended up spending, sounds like 40,000 shekels that they shouldn't offer on that day. Interesting how much they went through to not violate this prohibition of doing business. It's a rabbinical prohibition, but they spent so much money. Also, Rebbe was very wealthy. So interesting. So 40,000 went to not do business on that day. Okay, to do it the next day. Now, even the next day, they paid another 40,000 shekels that they should not have to bring it or sell it when it's alive, rather when it's shechted. Because the whole problem is that when it's alive, you can't sell it to them because it might do work for you on Shabbos. Or you might come to lend it, or you might come to lease it out to them. So then another 40,000, they spent another totaling 120,000 shekels that they shouldn't bring it at all. So why not? Why not? So the Gemara first thinks, my time, what's going to happen? You're going to have this fattened up ox by you. They're going to sell it to the idol worshiper. Then it's going to be there for a while. Someone's going to see that, oh, you see, you're allowed to sell big animals to the idol worshippers. And they're going to learn from there and do it themselves. And that's going to be a very big problem. So it sounds like to avoid this, they ended up dropping 120,000 shekels just to avoid this worry. Yeah. Says the Gemara, hold on. You can't bring me a proof from there because what was the problem with selling this to them the next day? The next day, meaning, why'd they do it in these steps? It sounds like they could have just right away said, we're not bringing it at all and paid all the money. So why'd they do it? Well, first, we're going to bring it only tomorrow. Then we're going to bring it only shechted. And then we're not going to bring it at all. So what was the reason for that? It had nothing to do with what you think it is about being worried. They're going to have it around for a long time. Ella Rebbe mi'aker milsa bayi. V'savar ya'aker v'asi purta purta. Rebbe just wanted to get out of this whole thing of doing business with the non-Jews. But he wanted to do it step by step, slowly. So he first negotiated 40,000, and then 40,000, and then 40,000. Just this whole thing he wanted to get rid of. So therefore, it's not necessarily a proof that you can or you can't sell the ox to the non-Jew, because the way he did it was in these steps, it was in 3 steps, because he wanted to remove the whole practice. He didn't want to do any business on the day of their holidays, not the next day, nothing. I just want to stay away from their holidays and giving them any animals next to their holidays. So therefore, it's not a proof one way or the other. So it says the Gemara, "B'chimashile." What are you so worried about? It's going to stick around for a long time. B'chimashile bari v'avid malacha. You think the fat animals, the fat ox, are going to stick around and then become healthy again and be able to do work for you? That you're so worried someone's going to see it doing work, and then you're going to be worried that maybe that we can sell it to the guy also, and then it's going to be a Shabbos violation, etc., etc. Amar Ravashi, Amar Lizvida, Amar Lizvida, Bartura, Mashinan Lay, the Ovid Al Chad Train. Sounds like he had an ox that was fattened up, and then it lost weight, and it did double. The work was doubly. It did double the amount of work. So it was a fat ox. It ended up sticking around for a long time. It lost weight, got a diet, and then it was able to do twice the amount of work. So you see that when you keep the animal around for a while, it's going to be able to do work for you. Therefore, if you end up selling it to the idol worshiper, and then it ends up losing weight, and it starts doing work for you, people are going to see that, oh my gosh, you could sell animals to the idol worshippers. And then what's going to happen is we're back to our worry that you might lease it or lend it, and then it'll do work for you on Shabbos. Ein mochrin lahem dubin. You cannot sell. Now, I'm not clear if this refers to specifically idol worshippers or any non-Jews. Idol worshippers. Okay, we'll stick with those. Ein mochrin lahem dubin ve'arayah. The arayos with an aleph, not with an ayin, not illicit relationships, but the lion. You can't sell dubin like dove bear, right? A bear. So the arayos, and you can't sell lions. The kol davar sheyesh bo nezek l'ram. Anything which could cause harm to the public, you cannot sell to them. That's interesting. But you could sell it to your own Jew. I guess you're sure that he'll watch it, right? It could be that you know that he'll watch it, but other people, you don't know that they're going to watch it well, and therefore you're causing a damage to the public damage. So, ein bonen imahem besilki gardum, it's tadaya ubima. So the idol worshippers, you can't build them a silky. Sounds like this higher up, I don't know English, a higher up place, like a 2-3 story building. Stadium platform, tiered quarters, because that's the place where they would do, where they would judge cases, and they would throw people off of there. That was like where they would kill people. So you can't assist in that. Probably in case a Jew got caught or something, you can't help build a place that's going to end up killing a Jew. So that's silky. Gardum is one kind of building where they judge capital cases. It's Tadaya. It's a place where they race, where they like a stadium where they like in Texas where they do like bullfighting.
Rodeo.
Yeah, rodeo, exactly. So you can't build that for them, because they go and they kill people, right? This has happened in our history, right? They take the animal, you put a person in, and you go have fun. So Rashi says that this is their enjoyment. These are their games, watching the animals kill people. And then Bima. Bima is like a small little building. You can't build that either. Why? Because they also push people down from there to kill them. So all of these, Rashi says, is a place where it's going to cause a damage to the public, because if a Jew gets caught there, right? So then you've sort of assisted, you've helped him to his death. But the point is that these things are dangerous. You're going to build these things. You're assisting them in damaging the public, and that you cannot do. That's right now.
Oh.
But you could build with them bimosios or base merchatos. You could build with them buildings that are not needed for idol worship at all. Tiered court. Okay, we have to see. Yeah, just doing that is fine. Umerchatzos, to build with them, bathhouses, is also fine. No problem with that. Now, Higia Lekipa sounds like in some of their buildings, they had these like inner chambers where they would put idols there. That Higia Lekipa Shemamidim Ba'avodah also live now. So you're building a building with them. And now there's like that top attic, the inner chamber where they're going to go secretly or whatever, not secretly, and do idol worship there. That you cannot build. Yeah, okay, maybe we'll stop here.
Let's go.